Hi, and welcome to Mark Talks Mags. Got a nice bit of Brewdog IPA here. So off we go with Record Mirror from December the 31st, 1977. And the reason I picked this one is because obviously 77 was a seminal year for music. And we've got here albums and singles of the year's best and our own choice. So I thought that'd be quite interesting to look back on. Bolan, Will He Sweep the Pole? I don't think so, in 1977. I could be wrong, but I doubt it very much. So that's the cover picture, is Marc Bolan. And it's basically looking back on 1977, which I often do. So, Record Mirror Singles and Albums of the Year, which covers the first and last pages. So I'll just take the middle page out and we'll have a look at this. Middle pages out, rather. This is obviously what they've done from their chart rather than the journalist choices. And we spoke a while back on one of the Mark Talks mags about how punk wasn't really quite as important chart-wise as we perhaps look back and think it was. And I think this sums it up. We're at the end of 1977 and number one is Don't Give Up on Us by David Soul, Hutch from Starsky and Hutch. Number two is Don't Cry for Me Argentina from Julie Covington, ex of Rock Follies. Number three is When I Need You by Leo Sayer. Number four is Silver Lady by David Soul. Number five is Knowing Me, Knowing You by ABBA. Number six is I Feel Love by Donna Summer. Great song. Number seven is Way Down by Elvis Presley. Number eight is So You Win Again by Hot Chocolate. Number nine is Angelo by Brotherhood of Man. And number 10 is Chanson d'Amour by Manhattan Transfer. And this goes up to number 100. And I'll just go through it here. Here we go. We'll go all the way down through there. We got all the ones you would expect to see. And surprisingly, Mull of Kintyre is only number 13. Let's find the first punky record, shall we? Sound of Vision by Bowie is number 29, which is atrocious that it's only number 29. I've always said Sound of Vision is possibly the coolest record ever made. How do you define cool in a record? I don't know, but Sound of Vision is cool. Oh dear, where are we? Punk rock. Even Romeo by Mr. Big at number 51 is higher than any punk records. 59, God Save the Queen by the Pistols. 62, Pretty Vacant by the Pistols. And I have a horrible feeling that is it in the top 100 singles. Nothing else. And the albums: Arrival by ABBA, number 1, 20 Golden Greats, The Shadows at number 2, 20 Golden Greats, Diana Ross and the Supremes at number 3, 4, A Star Is Born, the soundtrack, number 5, Rumours, Fleetwood Mac, number 6, Hotel California by the Eagles, number 7, The Sound of Bread, number 8, Endless Flight by Leo Sayer, number 9, ABBA's Greatest Hits, and number 10, The Johnny Mathis Collection. Number 12 is Nevermind the Bollocks. So that, surprisingly, you find that quite high in the top 100 albums. Number 40 is Low by Bowie. And no other punk at all. So no Rattus Norvegicus by the Stranglers. No The Clash. No In the City by the Jam. Remarkable. Oh, In the City by the Jam is number 88. I'm amazed that Rattus isn't in there because that... Oh, it is. I'm sorry. They've called it Stranglers 4. It's Rattus Norvegicus. In number 21. So let's move on. Juicy Lucy's awards for 77. Britt Eklund, Debbie Harry, Kermit the Frog, Frog of the Year. Well, what did happen in 77? And this is a brief look throughout the year. Mark Bolan and his new T-Rex announced a new album, single and tour. The Clash signed to CBS. Patti Smith hurt in stage fall in Florida. That's where she actually did break a bone in her neck. Stiff Records licensed to Ireland but retains its own identity, thankfully. Sex Pistols, this is March, Sex Pistols sack bass player Glenn Matlock and replace him with Sid Vicious. David Bowie comes out of hiding to tour with his protege, Iggy Pop. Protege. August, Sid Vicious fined £125 for assaulting a policeman and carrying an offensive weapon. On to 78, Will Mark win? The man himself has been gone 4 months now, but he certainly isn't forgotten. In fact, it looks like his following is stronger now than it's ever been. In their regular newsletter, his fan club told Mark's fans about the Record Mirror poll and reminded them all to send in their votes. With 2/3 of the coupons counted, Mark's position is looking invincible in at least 2 or maybe 3 categories. XTC Christmas Humiliation Special. Yes, this is next year's thing. Interesting stuff, isn't it, with XTC? I often wondered just how big XTC could have been or would have been had it not been for Andy Partridge's well publicised stage fright. That said, they're probably better off as the cult band that they've become. Probably making more money as a cult band than if they had burned incredibly brightly for 2 or 3 years and then disappeared into nothing. But they really could have been massive, couldn't they? The album reviews. Eater, the album. Nursery Punk. Eater were, of course, Roxy Club regulars. I believe that Andy Blade, their singer, was only 15, and their bassist and guitarist were similar age. And Degenerate, their drummer, of course, I think was 11 or 12. So Nursery Punk. There was a time when it looked as though Eater were going to come through. A year ago, they were there with the best of them, avoiding phlegm rolls and getting their name in the national hack peep shows. I mean, Rat Scabies taught Degenerate all he knew. And I suppose this is right. They were right up there with appearing on the Roxy Live album, and very much a first wave punk band, but it's not a great album at all. I've got it. Where is it? Eater the album. There it is. Yeah, not a great album at all. I doubt if I've played it more than, I don't know, maybe 10 times in the 43 years I've owned it. The Dictators, Go Girl Crazy, another disappointing album. Good band, but a bit disappointing, that album. Max Boyce, sort of the Welsh Billy Connolly, wasn't he? Record Mirror's Black Plastic Award of 77. So this is where the Record Mirror journalists give their choices for 77. And I'm sure we'll probably find here that some of them will be very punk orientated and some of them will be more trad rock orientated. So let's have a little look. First one we notice is Barry Kane, and I guarantee he'll be punk orientated. Written a couple of very good books. Yeah, his albums: The Boys, The Clash, Death of a Ladies Man, Leonard Cohen's great album. Not punk by any means, but a great album. New Boots and Bounties, Ian Jury. Out of the Blue, Electric Light Orchestra. That's disappointed me. This Is a Modern World, The Jam, Another Load of Bollocks. Another Load of Bollocks, the Sex Pistols. Never heard of that one. Ratus by the Stranglers, Marquee Moon by Television, and Small Change by Tom Waits. Pretty much what you'd expect to hear from Barry Kane. His singles, Sound of Vision, Do Anything You Want to Do, Born to Loose, In the City, Television Screen, 2468 Motorway, God Save the Queen, Pretty Vacant, Grip, White Punks on Dope. What a fine choice. Kudos to Mr. Kane. Jim Evans has chosen Let It Flow by Dave Mason and Out of the Blue by Electric Light Orchestra and Slow Hand by Eric Clapton as his first 3 albums. It's a bit worrying, isn't it? He's chosen Bad Reputation by Thin Lizzy. Decent album, not their best, but a good album. Lust for Life. And in his singles, The Whole Wide World by Reckless Eric. Good choice. And then he chooses acts like Joan Baez, Jan and Dean, Eric Clapton and the Eagles. Bit up and down, that one. Who else we got? Tim Lott. He was another punk journalist, wasn't he? Yep, so he again has gone Ratus, Marquee Moon, Rocket to Russia, the Ramones. My Aim Is True, Elvis Costello. Singles, God Save the Queen, Pretty Vacant, Watching the Detectives. Alison by Elvis Costello, the Bowie EP by Nick Lowe, who obviously made an EP called Bowie because Bowie had made an album called Lowe. Heroes, Roadrunner, Jonathan Richman, etc. There's an awful lot. This is interesting actually because although the wider public weren't putting punk rock into the upper echelons of the charts, clearly, as we saw earlier, all of the, I say all, virtually all of the Record Mirror journalists were very much putting punk at the top. And just briefly scanning over this as I'm talking, the only ones that hasn't is Robin Smith, who the nearest thing to punk he's put in there was Tom Robinson and Jonathan Richman, but the rest of it is literally Wishbone Ash, Jean-Michel Jarre, Vangelis, Kathy Jacques, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, yes. Well, I suppose you've got to have one. Rosalind Russell is chosen as her number 1 album, I'm Stranded by the Saints. Fine choice. So they've all got a bit of punk in there with the exception of Robin Smith. Sheila Prophet was another young punk-ish journalist, and she again has filled her chart with punk and new wave, other than Name of the Game by ABBA and Salisbury Hill by Peter Gabriel, which is a great song, as is the B-side, Moribund the Burgermeister. The calendar in the middle is Humphrey Bogart. Mailman. I'm dying of incredible lust, a lust to see the naked bodies of my favourite singing heroes. So please could you print in your fantastic magazine some Rudy pin-ups of the following: David Bowie, Cliff Richard, Elvis Costello, Leo Sayer and Demis Roussos. That's Anne from Ilfracombe. Okay. Could you tell me if Julie Covington has a fan club? Could you tell me what state Linda Ronstadt was born in? Could you tell me how tall Phil Lynott and Scott Gorham and Brian Downey of Thin Lizzy are? Phil Lynott is 6'1", Scott Gorham is 5'11", and Brian Downey is 5'10". Why didn't they want to know about Brian Robertson then? A bit scared of him, I expect. Up front, that's the gig pages with a picture of Gay advert. The advert's playing at London Dingwalls. Gay advert. The live pages, the Ramones at Manchester Apollo. John Otway at Victoria Palace. The Albertos, that's Alberto's Elos Trios Paranoias. Fabulous stuff. Elvis Costello at the Nashville Rooms. Disco Scene. And we've got a little strip cartoon, A Consumer's Guide to the Clash. March 76 at the Pistols gig. Oi Mick, There's that guy from the 101ers. Yeah, Strummer. Good gig, eh? Oh, so it's how the Clash formed. Mick Jones has disbanded the London SS and is looking for prospective musicians for a new band. And so the Clash is born. Small ads. Personal. Blimey. Quiet lad seeks understanding girl, 16 to 18, West Midlands area. Fan clubs. Dennis Waterman, official fan club. Meet Dennis at Club Disco. English Boys with Guns. That's Deaf School, isn't it? English Boys with Guns, the greatest band ever. Deaf School fan club. Records for sale. So a little look. Occasionally you'd find actually a small local punk band would put their single for sale in there because they're not signed to a label with any distribution, obviously. And nothing this week. And then Sex and Rock and Roll, but does it sell records? So we've got a picture of Blonde on Blonde. We've got a picture of Page 3, which was two Page 3 girls. As I think Blonde on Blonde were too, weren't they? Gilly Johnson and someone else. Twiggy and Amanda Lear. An article about sex selling rock and roll. And we come to the back page. Remember 1977, a special pull-out. So it's another strip cartoon. And there we are. A short 24-page record mirror look at 1977. And quite enlightening it was too. See you next time.